Hello. Right, I'm building the seat for my Jedi today. Great fun. My old one. This is my old seat, which was actually built with someone else because I kept the seat from who used it beforehand, and it didn't fit. I was sat too high up, too far back, so that the bars. I'll show you. Basically, these bars here. These were across the middle of my arms, so they came across just under my shoulders, which was really annoying. So I've had to ditch that seat, which is that one there. Yeah, that's gone. Someone wanted to know how to, well, it was Matt Doe wanted to know how to do it, and it's pretty simple really. Well, it's really simple. You just got to sit there and let it happen. Foam. Two of them, with part A and part B. That's the other one. Two of those, equal amounts. Pour it out into something. I've already done half of it. I did it earlier before the message came up that he wanted to see how it was done. So I've already done half of it. Poured it in, got a black bag, strapped it up, put some plastic in the car, which you probably already saw anyway. So there's already some plastic in there. So put that in there, plastic bag, mixed up. It said I'm sure I was reading somewhere on a forum that it said use a pint, and it would do some sort of seat for a Westfield song, which is, I can't see how that. I used a pint and it barely even went around my fat ass, so that went in the bin. I've pretty much used, I'd say, probably 2/3 of each one of these now. I used them in coffee jars, and I used 2 coffee jars to work out the level of the 2 amounts that I needed, and then I poured it into the bottom of an oil can, basically, which was about the right amount I needed. So I poured it into there, which is the best part of, I don't know, probably looking at maybe 1.5 litres of stuff. I filled the coffee jars about, well, there were 200 gram coffee jars that I used. Still got some of the stuff in the bottom of it. And I filled them up to about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way up. Chucked it in that tub, mixed it all together, threw it in there, spread it all out so it was all equal across the bottom of it, laid the bag down into the seat, squashed it around where I wanted it to do, then sat in there and spread it out and let it happen. So it gets quite warm though, so make sure you wear something that's going to protect your bum from getting too hot, because it does get hot, warm. Yeah, so I've already made half the seat. Now what I'm going to do is mix up some more and put it in the places where it didn't quite fill everywhere. Put the seat back in, pour it into the bag where I want a bit more foam, a bit more support, and then I'll shape it and then I'll tape it up. So that's the bag, that's the seat already. It's formed up. It's not actually a bad shape once it's all in there. You can see it's a sort of a seat shape, but I'll set a lot further down now. This bit of the back here, this is the fuel tank. That won't have any. It's just going to have some of that padded stripping on it again. And then the seat's going to start from here, just cover this bit where my back's not sat anywhere, where my back's sort of floating, and then it'll go down, lift my legs and my knees up slightly down to the pedals. So yeah, I'm going to mix the foam up. I'll record that separate in a minute. Right, I've got the amounts there, equal amounts, 2 parts of the foam, then you just mix them together. This process will have to be paused. Once I do it, I've got a little Chinese tub there. I'm just going to pour them both in there, mix them up. I'll show you that in a second once these mix together. I'll do it from here. Tub. You've got a little bit of time to do this. It's not a reaction that starts happening instantly. When it does start, it's quick, but you've got a little bit of time to get, the most out of the jars that you can. They will actually separate slightly, so the darker liquid goes to the bottom, and it will go underneath. We can actually see it there, I think. Yeah, See it going underneath. So until you start to mix the two, the reaction doesn't actually start to happen. You get a bit of air in there and you get the two mixed together, and then it will start to go. We can actually just do it like this. There's enough to mix it together and you'll see it start to turn white. It's just basically expanding foam. Slightly harder actually, if I'm honest. It is slightly, when you do it like this in the two part, it's slightly harder than normal expanding foam, but it's the same stuff. And you see now it's just like a milky colour. That's the two mixed together. So now this is when the reaction starts to happen, and it will start happening fairly quickly, so I've got to get this in quite quick. Well, basically going to pour it into the areas I want, and then get yourself a cup of tea ready and your phone, and then you can just sit in your car and go on Facebook for a bit. Right, all done now. It's about 20 minutes ago, 15-20 minutes ago, I don't know. But I poured it all in, sat in the car, a little look around on Facebook, not too much because I haven't seen the F1 results yet, so I don't want to ruin it for myself. Yeah, that's it, done. So that's the seat now, pretty much. If I can get it so you can see it. That's the back of it there. Like Neil said, Neil Gould said, wear some crappy clothes, because I luckily put in just, well, the first time nowhere near enough. Second time I got it just right. I felt it pop in the bag behind me, but it was lucky it was just there, and the foam filled right up to the edge of the bag, and it didn't quite open the bag. I taped it all up anyway, all the bag. Didn't quite open the bag, so it didn't come out, so I was quite lucky with that. And then the second time I was only putting in foam where I wanted it, so yeah, but this, you've got to be pretty lucky with it, I think, to get that. I think I was quite lucky with the first time I've ever done it, so yeah, I was lucky with that. But now it's a case of, I think I've got the foam everywhere I want. It looks quite even, I think, anyway. I don't know, I'm sure the experts will tell me it's crap. I've done it wrong, but there we go. You've got to try these things. Right, I've got my horrible overalls off now. I feel free. Yeah, got the seat out, plastic bags come off. It's great, really. I'm quite happy with it. Needs lots of trimming up, which you know it's going to. You've got no real control over how the foam expands. Well, I mean, I don't anyway. I'm sure there's people out there who make seats all the time who are probably going to be a lot better at doing it than I am. But I'm quite happy, again, like all the same, the way it's come out. It's going to work, which is the main thing. Like I said, just need to trim it up. It will hold me in place. It'll do. It'll work. It's a bit wonky. I saw it to start off with. I thought it's lopsided. It's not turned out very well at all. But I realised, well, I've got the gear stick on the left-hand side, and the bar runs to the left of me anyway. So you're always going to sit slightly on the right-hand side, which is why the left-hand side is slightly thicker than the right. So yeah, it's just as it is. I think it's quite. It's worked quite well. I don't know if you can see it very easily. It just looks like a big massive foam at the moment, but it's got the main basic shape that it needs for a seat. Trim all these edges off. This bit at the back here goes totally, and then this side here, we're trimming around that and across there, and again with this side, trim down the edge here, this corner piece. That's going to go because that's where the gear change goes through into the engine compartment. You see the bar that goes down there. And this bit at the front here, it's actually cut out quite nicely. I worked it so that I knew the gear lever would move. Yeah, and then all this just needs trimming off, cutting away, and tidying up, taping up. Once it's all taped up, it's lovely and firm, and it's going to be quite comfortable, I think. But it's quite comfortable being sat on it anyway, whilst it's still forming up, so should be good. Hope you like it. Right, I've trimmed it all up now. Took all the foam off and that I didn't want. Trimmed it all up. The bits that I put in as an extra later on stuck really well. I wasn't sure it was going to stick very well, but it stuck. Well, you wouldn't know that there was a difference between the foam I put in afterwards and the stuff I did in the morning. So now I've picked up some, you know, Armour Flex, the black insulation, the lagging stuff. We've got some of that tape. I had it in the van, so I picked some of that up. It's this black foamy stuff. You pull the backing off and it's just a sticky foam. See, it's not very thick, but it's just enough. That's what I've got behind my head to protect the helmet. I'm layering the bottom of the seat where there was like a little hole that you could see earlier. I'm putting some of this across. I'm going to foam, basically pad out most of the inside of the seat, just to give it a soft touch really, because the foam's quite hard. So yeah, I've just started doing that now. As you can see that little black pads there, and then I'll do some up around the sides, mainly up around the back. It's going to be up the front here. I probably won't bother too much with them. My legs are going to sit there. But you can see I've trimmed the seat up a bit, so it's quite a lot better now than it was. I'm really quite pleased with it. It's worked out quite nice, really. Goes in there, sit me a lot further forward now, supports my legs, and it will sit in. You can see where the underside of it's all grooved. It will sit in where it needs to sit. Yeah. Right. I had a load of like normal lagging tape, silver like aluminium foil tape. So I coated the bottom of it. That's the bottom of the seat, coated in the aluminium foil tape. Because it was very thin and a bit crumbly under there, I've coated that, which now, as you can see, now is quite stiff. Before there was only a couple of holes there, and now that's nice and hard there. And I've used the Armorflex lagging tape for a bit of cushioning. So that's where I'll be sat down in there. This is my legs up here anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But that's that, and just the bottom of my back there. So yeah, I've done that. So I've got a bit of padding in the seat. I wrapped the aluminium foil tape around the top here. As you can see, this is the bit where I've cut it all away, because this won't stick to it. So this stuff won't stick to the foam on its own, so I'll put the aluminium foil tape there, and now it sticks to that lovely. The seat goes in now. Get up on the ramp. Wrong way. I'm still yet to finish. I've got to wrap the whole thing in gaffer tape, but it sits in there nice now. Yeah, so that's how it will sit. And then this bit across the back here, this is where I might put another piece of foam, but I might either stick it to this or stick it to that, but I'm not 100% on what I'm going to do with it yet. I might just leave that, there's only a small gap there, so I might just coat this in that foam, the same as I have there on the headrest. So I might just coat the petrol tank there with the foam that I lean up against, or I might use some of this sort of grey soft builder's foam that was around. Which is only thin, but I might use some of that, cut a few strips of that, shape it up, put it in there. But I'm going to go home now. See you later.